This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28, starting at verse 8, and it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence." Verse 9, "The prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him." I'm going to start off by giving all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Loyam Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, teaching do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking our lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwat out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad and the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to the truth. To you, I say shalom. It's your brother Yahweh Sop out of the GMS Cleveland Church. Fellow servant, I'm coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. This lesson is through the Spirit on this article I got off my news break app. And, it's a little bit more personal because it's in the area I'm in. We out of Cleveland, GMS Cleveland camp, but it's the state of Ohio, and it's just funny, and it's showing you the days that we're in. Like the scripture said, it tells you the difference between the prophet of the Lord and man or individuals that consider themselves prophet, because you got this go along to get along spirit out here, when in actuality, the true men of the Lord, they were not very popular. They were actually unpopular, or they were more infamous than famous. It's like austerity. Charles White made a statement before, and like a brother say, he always used this old quote about even a broke clock is right twice a day. So as much as a nigga Charleston White is, I can't stand him. He is entertaining to a certain degree, in certain aspects, but for the most part, I can't stand that nigga because he's so contradictory. He'll say one thing as if like he give a fuck about his people, but then the next step he'll say how he give a fuck about money more than his people. He'll slut out your daughter, and if I've heard that statement before. A female is to be, her whole sole purpose is she's going to serve a man in some aspect or capacity. But my point is, it's different when it's yours. You know what I mean? Like, that's just facts. You know what I mean? But anyhow, with that being said, he'll say, he all for his people, but then it's okay to slut out this man, woman, or his, because that's a nigga. You know what I mean? He brags about cheating because he got it set up to where he can. This isn't about that, Salakia for the, my spiritual rant. Just be so much shit going on, and just, this place is vexing. But with that being said, the men of the Lord were more so infamous. They were. It's like an austere man. Charles White was making a statement about how how the woman or your mama would keep certain things away from your daddy because your daddy, he would be no nonsense on certain shit, or you know what I mean. And women ain't like that. You know what I mean. He said a statement like, austere men aren't really loved. They're tolerated, which is the truth. And it makes you think of how they make it seem like Yahweh Shah was just beloved and everybody, he was so peaceful. But actually, in actuality, if that was the case, then why were the Pharisees and Sadducees always trying to plot against him? Right before your eyes, though, when you really just take the time and read the context of the, the information in the scriptures. But nonetheless, the times that we're coming in before the end, it's going to be, violence. All these things are scriptural, hard times. It talks about perilous times, and it's going to be, a lot of plagues and pestilence, which I just read in Jeremiah chapter 28. And the true men of the Lord will be bringing these things out. It's not going to be just, a prosperity spirit or everybody get along. Although we don't, scriptures talk about, can two walk together, at least they be agreed, and they cannot unless they agree. Why do you think that you got all this infighting, and you got all these countries calling themselves with an agenda, but it's certain things going on because they're not in complete agreement. That's why you got all these divisions and whatnot, which is all scriptural. You know, but nonetheless, it says, "Beware highly contagious disease now spreading in Ohio schools." It says, as the weather warms up in Ohio, certain illnesses have decreased in the Buckeye State. While there have been a decrease in flu cases throughout the state, there has been an increase in other illnesses making their rounds. The decrease in flu just because of, the CV. Like that just shit just went away. It says, and one highly contagious disease is affecting school-aged children in Ohio. It says, according to Ohio Pediatrics, there has been a spike in cases of Coxsackie virus, also known as hand, foot, and mouth disease. This highly contagious disease primarily affects young children and quickly spreads due to the proximity of students in classrooms and playgrounds. Hand, foot, and mouth disease is characterized by sores in the mouth, hands, and feet. Ugh. Because hand, foot, and mouth disease is highly contagious, people with the illness should limit their exposure to others while they have symptoms. Keep children with hand, foot, and mouth disease out of their child care setting or school until fever is gone and mouth sores have healed. And again, you got to understand with this who and the narrative that they're setting, because pretty much they want you in a constant state of fear, because when you're in fear, you're easily or more easily manipulated, more easily controlled, because you're going to them for the answers. So again, they were just talking about the avian bird flu and all these different, like I said again, diseases that they can use and push the narrative in any direction, and people gonna eat it up. You know what I mean? With all these different things going on, like for instance, not to digress, but like with the whole campus protest thing, come to find out through the spirit, it's revealed that George Soros and his son are behind funding a lot of that, because these things are springing up on all these college campuses. Makes you remind, and I knew something was weird about that, because it reminded me of the Black Lives Matter situation. Man. So you got to understand that these people are trying to sow discord, because it's their whole objective is to create order out of chaos. It says symptoms of hand, foot, mouth disease typically include fever, sore throat, and a rash of small blisters on the hands, feet, and inside the mouth. While most cases are mild and clear up on their own within a week, some children may experience complications such as dehydration or secondary infections. Frequent hand washing can help reduce the risk of infection, and disinfecting commonly touched surfaces such as desks, doorknobs, and toys is also recommended. And you gotta, again, like I said, keep an open mind to these things, because you gotta remember, just with the CV, which was a highly contagious, pestilence or disease, which could be spread by the touch or close proximity of individual. Well, again, now they're talking about these diseases and pestilences are morphing. So like I say, I mean, ultimately this could be a tool of Esau Edom, but it also could be a pestilence from Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because the Lord said he was going to use these different diseases and pestilences to judge and do things on the earth. This is the book of Matthew chapter 24. I'm gonna start at verse 3, and it reads, Matthew 24:3, and it reads, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Mashiach, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, which we are seeing wars taking place, and we're hearing of America, Babylon the Great, aka the United States, may be going to war with these different countries. World War III is in the background brewing. It says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. I was listening to the one brother, he was going into how pretty much He was going into pretty much how it was a earthquake in Jersey. I believe it was the elder brother Amawanga Bar. You know, the scripture says it's gonna be earthquakes in diverse places. In the Bible, pestilence is a deadly disease that affects the entire community and is usually a sign of God's judgment on a nation or people group. It is often a contagious, virulent disease. For example, the Black Plague, which killed over 30% of Europe's population during the late Middle Ages, was a pestilence, and that was biblical too. You know what I mean? Like, if you go into history, you find out that Jake, or you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, some Indians, were, you know, in the Middle Ages around rulership, and those were, that's why, you know, it was all for biblical prophecy. The Edomite had to be in rulership for all these things to come about, you know. So the Lord took Jake out, you know, because that's like, he pretty much took Jake out of power. It says, I read that. So, getting another one. This is the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15. Point is verse 49. And it reads, I'm going to start at verse 47. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredoms, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredoms with them. And that's all these nations that joined onto this whore Babylon the Great, aka America. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High God, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And that's why we tell 2/3 of our people to come out of this place. You know, you physically can't come out of it. You know, majority of Jake is broke, you know, poor, you know, to the point where I did a video on Brucey Badass. He was just saying, you know, this is the brokest he's ever seen Americans. So how are you gonna be able to flee from Babylon the Great when you can't even got the money to take care of your household? No, you're supposed to flee out of the mindset, because the only true deliverance is gonna be, you know, when Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, who you people England call Jesus Christ, come back to redeem us and save us when we're beamed up on those chariots. That's the salvation. You know what I mean? And, you know, just like we were sent here to, you know, suffer these, you know, these curses, you know, we're not going to be redeemed or being able to, you know, scriptures talk about how we are not going to have any power within our hands. We're as likened onto worms. You know what I mean? That's why all the different atrocities happen to our people the way they happen, because, you know, Jake don't got no power. We coming back into this knowledge, so we're receiving power now. So, you know what I mean? Again, that's another scripture going into the Most High, you know, sending plagues and pestilences. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29. And I'm going to start at verse 17 and read. I'm going to start at verse 15 and read Jeremiah 29 and 15. Because ye have said, the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have raised us up prophets of Babylon. Know that thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of the king that sitteth upon the throne of David, and of all the people that dwelleth in this city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. Now this is going into, you know, at the time of Jeremiah, you know, pretty much, you know, because it was you know, Jerusalem was being besieged, you know, and pretty much, you know, Jeremiah's, you know, calling was to go prophesy to the people that they were going to go into captivity, and if they went, you know, just willingly, you know, just, you know, succumb to, you know, the authority of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because the Most High raised up Jeremiah to do this, it'd have been easier upon them. You know, they had a certain amount of set or a set time to be in captivity. You know, it says verse 17, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil, and our people are so evil, you know, to this day. You know what I mean? Like, look at the state and the nature of Jake. Jake is fucked up out here. You know what I mean? And and you really see how we truly need a salvation by really looking at Jake. You know what I mean? Look at the shit that's going on with this P Diddy situation, and, you know, and Devin Haney, and just, you know, just look the state of Jake is fucked up. You know, and mind you, it's so funny how these people spin the narrative, because fuck Sean Puffy P. Diddy, whatever the fuck his name is, Combs. Fuck that nigga. Just like fuck 50 Cent and everybody got something to say with him because, you know what I mean? Like, y'all make money with each other. Y'all all in that industry together. Like the elder apostle Tahar said, most of them individuals are moles. Most of them people are weirded out. But, fuck that individual. But at the same time, it's like, they said that this thing reached all the way up to the royals, the House of Windsor, Prince Harry. You know what I mean? So why is it that, it's funny how like Devin Haney name came out. It's funny how what's his name? The pastor, TD Jakes. All these different individuals' names came out, but it's a list of people. So why their name didn't come out? Because again, the media controls the narrative. That's just like with the Harvey Weinstein situation, or not the Harvey Weinstein, the Epstein situation. This is how much power these motherfuckers got. You had all these individuals that were caught up and connected in that too, but it's only they picked and choose who was indicted and who. So this place full of shit. Verse 18, and I will persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse, an astonishment, and a hissing, and a reproach among all the nations whither I have driven them. And that's the spirit, because I was just going into how our people are fucked up, and we are looked at as like the again, like I say, when you take time to think about it, it wasn't just Jake doing that, And, I was looking at what Ryan Garcia was doing. When he was talking about the Illuminati was coming getting him, which, Jake ain't the Illuminati for real. Like, they lesser luminaries, they're peons to it. They'll be the scapegoat. But the ones that, like, really involved in that shit, for real, those are Edomites. I mean, yeah, Jake rubbing elbows with them, but, again, like I said, they'll be the scapegoat. Just like they want to try to make, Jake the scapegoat with what all going on in the world, or make these migrants the scapegoat, which are Israelites. So I'm gonna end the lesson with this. It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 7, and it's a lot. The book of Ezekiel chapter 7. At verse 4, and it reads, Salakia, this is Ezekiel chapter 7, and verse 4, and it reads, and my eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense, or repay, or reward thy ways upon thee, and thine abomination shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Verse 5, the point, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, power and evil, and only evil beholders come. When you go into that word evil, it's a compound word, Eve, time, ill, bad. Bad times are approaching. And if you can't see it, it's not meant for you to see it. Scriptures talk about the eye salve, and everybody doesn't possess it, especially 2/3 of our nation, and that's why they're going to get caught up in the destruction, but, again, you're going to have more and more pestilence because it's all scriptural. So with that, I will end the lesson. I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to God, Lord Yahweh, I want to say double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. I want to say peace and salutations to the Akim across the four quarters of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. I say shalom to the Akim and the Aquath of the listening and learning. Lord, willingly this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. So next time I will come on another lesson. I say shalom, shalom, and Kwam Yasharallah. Shalom.